Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments, and I am bringing you another project recipe for a collection that came out a couple years ago. This is from 2020, the Christmas Spirit collection. If you remember this one had several really cute features, and it brought us the stocking border maker cartridge, which is used in this layout. However, you could use just about any holiday layout, holiday punch to create a border across this, and it would be very, very cute. So I just pulled a couple of my extra border maker cartridges out to suggest a couple of them to you. So here is the stocking punch that came out that is meant to go with this. And then we also have the ornament border maker cartridge. If you have that, that would be perfect. Or going back to old CM, the gingerbread cartridge would be really cute across this, especially if you use this for baking photos for Christmas. Or even the candy cane punch that just came out last year would be really, really cute as well across the borders of this. This one goes together pretty quickly, so let's go ahead and get started. And I think I am, for the purposes of this, going to go ahead and use the candy canes because my stocking border maker cartridge sometimes acts up on me, and I just don't want to have to worry about that with you on the video today. So I'm just going to use my candy cane one, and life will be good. I have a piece of white cardstock. I have a piece of what I believe to be scarlet cardstock. Scarlet is no longer sold, but if you just find a piece of red that works well with the collection that you're using. If you're using Christmas Spirit, scarlet is perfect, but you can also see that they use kind of the darker red, like the cranberry or the crimson in this as well, so that would work too. So let's see here. I'm going to grab my border maker system, but in addition to that, you are going to need 3 additional papers. They recommend that you have a piece, 2 different pieces of designer paper for the embellishing or the creation of the layout, but as a base, they also recommend that you use a piece of designer paper. So I've chosen white cardstock and this plaid paper as my base, similar to the one that they've got on here. I think it actually is the same one they've got on here they're using for a base. And then I'm going to use these 3 papers as my for creating the layout. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to punch using our border maker system, and we're going to punch these 2 borders that go across. So I'm going to just get a few things out of the way so we can work. And I'm going to load my cardstock up here and get started punching. So we're going to punch these candy canes out of the red. When you are using cardstock in your border maker, it is a muscle enhancing process. It's a little bit tougher to get the border cartridges to cut cardstock, but they will cut cardstock. I just, keep in mind that you don't want to do that too often. It'll wear down your punch faster, but if that's what you bought it for, then go ahead and do it. So that's why I'm using mine. If you're cutting designer paper, of course, it's much easier. Cardstock, you do have to muscle just a little. There we go. So there's our 2 rows of candy canes. Let me get rid of my punched confetti here. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to grab my trimmer, and I'm going to trim a few things. So let's go to our second page of our instructions. That'll help us out. And you can see we need 2 4 1/4 by 12 inch pieces of this red cardstock. So we're going to go to 4 1/4 is here. a little off. And I use my grid lines to make sure things are straight rather than always using my shoulder, because sometimes the paper is on this end is not quite straight. So it just works better if you have a visual rather than always relying on that shoulder. Okay, so another 4 1/4 by 12, and then this piece is just extra for you to use on another layout. Okay, so those are going to sit over here and wait until we get a few other things punched. All right, and so the next one I need is going to be a border that's going to go long ways on top of the red. So I'm going to use the green to go on top of the red. And this is also going to be a couple of mats. So we're going to do 2 4 by 12 pieces. And this is designer paper, so it's going to cut much easier than the cardstock because it's thinner. Okay, so 2 4 by 12 pieces. Then we're going to take the remaining 4-inch piece, turn it to the side, and we're going to cut this at 6 inches. And we're going to cut this piece at 5 1/2. 5 1/2 is going to be all the way out to the very edge of your trimmer. You don't have to move the arm out if you don't want to. And you just cut off that extra 1/2 inch. Or you can measure and put the edge of it right here on this 1/2 inch and cut it from there. All right, and then our last paper we're going to cut, and this one is a directional paper for me. So I want to make sure, because it's going to be these strips that go underneath my candy cane. So I'm going to turn this one so that my presents are horizontal like they should be. If not, then I will have to turn the paper over and use the other side, which is doable. But I like the presents. Who doesn't like presents, right? So we're going to just cut 2 1-inch strips of this one. Then we're going to cut a 4-inch piece. And the 4-inch piece we are going to turn and cut it at 5 1/2, which is again the very edge of your trimmer. 5 1/2 and 6, which means we need to just cut off a 1/2 inch, and we will have our 6-inch piece. So we don't always have to put that arm out if we don't want to. Okay, so there's our 2 mats. Then we're going to take the remaining bit of this, and we need 2 3 1/2 inch squares. So we're going to cut this at 3 1/2 and then turn and cut it 3 1/2 2 more times. The remaining bit of that is just extra, so set it aside. So 3 1/2 and 3 1/2. And those are done, and this piece is extra. All right, we are done cutting. We're done punching. Now we can assemble. So grab your bases and grab these 2 wide strips. Okay, those are the ones we're going to do first. So you're going to have your green's going to go on top of these 2 strips. So grab your permanent adhesive and I love this holly that's on the back of this green, but this time around we are doing something a little different. So we're just going to center that in the middle of our red, because the red is meant to be just an accent along the edge. If you don't have enough cardstock, you can, I have done this before, I've just cut about a 1/2 inch by 12-inch strip, and then put a little bit of my repositionable adhesive along it so that I can rub off what shows. And then I just put it very carefully along each of the edges of my green, rather than using an entire big piece like this. But the project recipe does call for a big piece like this, so I'm following the project recipe. Okay, this is a little bit, alright, a little bit wonky, I'm not sure why. Okay, so then we're going to put this piece on. So go ahead and add some adhesive down each long side of this, and a little bit in the middle, because we want it to lay flat. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but my cardstock is a little bit bent. I think somehow it got a little out of sorts, as they say. Alright, so this is going to be placed, it looks like about maybe 1.5 inches to 2 inches from the bottom. But I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with about 1.5 inches. So about right there. Because you want to see some of that beautiful plaid paper. So nice right there. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing, but on the white paper, the white cardstock. We're going to put the other one at the top. Up here, about 1.5 inches, roughly. Okay. And then on top of this one, above it, is going to go our pretty patterned packages. So I'm going to put my adhesive going the other direction just so that I have less of it to have to put on here. Just like that. I have a piece that got a little long on that side. Okay. Now, making sure my presents are upright, I'm going to go ahead and place this all along the top of my red strip, just like so. And then the other one's going to go along the bottom. Oops, I almost put my presents upside down. Gotta watch me, ladies. Okay. There we go. Just like so. Then we're going to grab our candy canes and some repositionable adhesive and put this kind of all along our candy canes and stick those right across the seam. I'm sticking a little bit above, like the arch of the candy cane is going above and the stick is going below the edge of that paper. And this one's going to do the same thing, but up here on top, above this upper strip. Ooh, I'm liking the way this is coming together. This is cute. Okay. Now, we're going to take, we've got one square that can go there. We've got another square that can go there. We've got a short. We've got a short and a long photo that is matted in each of these areas. a short and a long that's matted up here as well. And these are going to be vertical, so but you don't have to worry about that because you never, I beg your pardon, you're not going to see the majority of this one because your photos are going to be covering it. So let's take a look at what this design is going to look like with photos on. So let's see, our photos are going to be 3.5 by 3.5, and let me grab some photo squares. Bye. Oh, okay. Okay, so I need to cut a couple of extras of these so we have the appropriate sizes. So bear with me 1 second. I'm going to cut a couple of 5 by 3.5s because those are photo sizes I've not used before. So 5 by 3.5. And then I can show you what this is going to look like. I'm going to grab my marker. So 3.5 by 5, 3.5 by 5. Okay. Let's check this out. So the 3.5 by 5s are actually, I beg your pardon, 3.5 by 5s are the smaller of these, just like so. And then the larger ones are 5.5 by 3.5. So see what I mean by how you're not going to see much of the design that is around the edge of those. And then we've got 3.5 by 3.5 squares that go in here, along with this 3.5 by 3.5 square. And you can put them as close or as far apart as you want to. 1/4 of an inch looks about like that. Or if you are worried about having them be totally straight, you can always make them a little bit wonky, like this, and just tip them a little. Depends on, you know, how serious you want your layout to be. But you can tip them and give things a little more character, especially since these upper two are tipped. You might want to do that. If you're not, you can make these top 3 straight, these bottom 3 straight, and make the middle ones a little offset. But that is how the layout comes together. Then you can embellish it just a little bit. If you still have Christmas spirit around at home, you'll remember this is the one that has the cute Santa and these cute little gnomes. So you can embellish it however you like. I have kind of a busy pattern going on in the corners. So I pulled this mat also, which has another cute little gnome on it. And I thought it might be fun to cut this into a 3.5 by 3.5 and replace one of these with this mat card. And then that way I have a journal box that's much easier to write in, and I can still stay with the theme of the page. So let's just trim this up and we'll make it a 3.5 by 3.5. And then instead of having these presents, we'll have our Nomi guy right there. And then we can either use a photo up here on those presents, or we could add Santa and a cute little title and use that square as our title page. The Magic of Christmas. We can have little gnomes kind of popping up in other places, which I think is a cute idea. But I think maybe, since we've got this guy down here, maybe a fun thing to do would be to move these mats over just a little bit, and then we can have these gnomes standing on the edge of our photo paper like that. Something along that line anyway, because we don't want them to get lost on a printed page. Okay, so in addition, I also just flipped over the other half of this cute little gnome card, and it says Naughty and Nice on the back. So I have a couple of suggestions that we do to embellish and make this an even cuter page. I'm going to go ahead and cut this, trim this to approximately a 2-inch square. Well, it won't be a 2-inch square exactly. It'll be 2 by 2.5 roughly. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my scissors because I think it would be fun to adhere some bling to these pages. So I have this leftover star from one of my star punches, and I'm just going to cut off some of these angles. So I have some chevron-like shapes. Just following the angle of the punched piece. Okay, so there I've got 4 of those, and we'll just set that extra piece to the side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere down this corner piece. And we're going to spiff it up just a little. So corners. And I'm going to take my repositionable adhesive and run it right along this arrow piece. And I'm going to put it right into the corner just like so. Just to add a little something, something. A little bling, I guess you could say, to jazz up this corner. Again, that's acid-free, lignin-free glitter paper, so it won't bother my other designs. I'm just going to pop this cute little naughty or nice sign in here for Santa. We're going to pop him up on some foam squares so he has a little more dimension to him. Stick, stick, stick. His feet, his bag, his hand. Body. Don't want it to sink. Okay, there we go. I wish I could play some Christmas music in the background when we scrap Christmas pages. All the copyright laws and things like that make it so that I can't really do that. But it would be so nice. It would create a really nice ambiance, especially for when I'm not talking. Okay, so we're just going to put him right in there like he's checking that list. And then I'm going to pop up this cute little sign. And just sort of add this kind of across his feet. The magic of Christmas. Okay. Not going to put down these photos. I'm not going to glue down the I don't know, photo templates, I guess is what you'd call these, for our sizes. But I am going to go ahead and adhere these mats just because I don't believe I'm going to be needing to change these. So just going to go ahead and adhere that one. That one's going to go on the bottom. This one I'm going to adhere, using my repositionable. So let's see, which one is it that I don't want? It's this one right here that I already put adhesive on. So rubbing that off, I'm going to leave this corner without adhesive because I want to be able to make sure I can get pictures underneath there. So now I don't remember which corner I did. Okay, I want to do this one. That way if I need to, I can slip a picture underneath the mat. There. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and adhere this guy down. If I had more stickers left from this particular collection, then I might go ahead and adhere some additional embellishments. But because I don't, this is all I'm really going to do. But I think it'll be okay. If I wanted to, I could probably go ahead and add some punched embellishments to this. maybe punch some extra candy canes to use. That would be cute. This one's not going to overlap as much, so I'm not as worried about it. Okay, and then we can pop up our gnomes just real quick. He's going to overlap my this one. I'm just going to go ahead and adhere to the page. Oops. I have my permanent adhesive in my hand and I went right over the edge. Okay, there we go. This guy is going to kind of be set behind just a little. And you'll notice I have them kind of set so that their swirls of their hat don't interfere with each other and are going opposite directions. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, so I can put these back on here so that you can see again how that will all come together. All right. Okay, and with that, I think we're done. Excuse me. I hope you've enjoyed putting this together. Again, this was the Christmas Spirit Collection layout for Project Recipe, and super fun, and I really hope that you have become inspired and learned how you can use some of your other tools, past tools that you have in your stash and your other collections. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you have many more creative moments this holiday season. Take care.